Welcome. We are back another week in the market. And last week we saw a pretty good Thursday and Friday after a rough Wednesday. Had a little bit of a Fed reaction. It doesn't look like the rate cuts are going to be happening when they might have been anticipated to be happening sooner last year. And let's see. There's any good articles. Fed Chair Powell pushed back against hopes of a Fed cut or a Fed rate cut next month. Okay, so you also had the Minneapolis Fed president say that a higher neutral rate gives the Fed room to wait on interest rate cuts. So we see a lot of different things going on there, and pretty back and forth economic data over the past month or so, but pretty decent earnings. And there's a lot of reasons as to why the market is going up like it is. An amazing rally, AI backing a lot of it, growth in different sectors of the economy. But it's a little bit interesting. I feel like when the market crashes or goes down, everybody can, or at least a lot of people can agree on one reason as to why the market is going down. And whenever it's going up, it's like, if I were to ask 10 different people, why is the market going up nonstop? They'll give me 10 different reasons likely. So in general, it's just the market is in a good environment and most investors or traders heads right now. And that's what we're seeing. Palantir did have a nice move on earnings today. It was actually pretty ironic. I was on the floor, the bell just rang, and I was watching CNBC and I saw that Palantir was up like a little bit, like a couple percent. And I saw like a news headline about signing a bunch of contracts, and I told my friend about it, and we were just talking about it. We're like, yeah, it makes sense for Palantir. And we were even talking about Peloton last week and why we thought the opposite. And we're like, look, these were two names that used to be hot, and Palantir just seems like the better one in many regards. And then I look at my phone 20 minutes later, and Palantir is up like 15% after hours, and seems like it is currently closing, or we're still about 40 minutes until after hours closes, but it's currently about 18% after hours. And I'm gonna say it right now. I'm gonna post it everywhere right now, because I even let this one go public too. Okay, this wedge you see on the chart, I know the earnings are what made the move, but boom, this was one of the key focuses heading into the week. It was shared in the weekly watch list. I literally tweeted out last night, and we're going to go take a look at that right now. Let's see, where is it? Right here. And then last night I was sharing, I usually don't do this, but last night I did share this few of the names on the watch list for everybody to see heading into the week, and Palantir was one of them. See right here, it was this bottom one, this wedge over here. So nice move. Let's take a quick look into those earnings actually. Let's see if we can get something. Here we go. Palantir came out with quarterly earnings of about 8 cents per share. In line with the estimate, this compares to about 4 cents a share a year ago. And a quarter ago, it was expected the company would post earnings of 6 cents a share, but then it actually went up. So pretty much a beat right there. Not sure if they have any news. It was just like one of those automated articles. There we go. So revenue rose about 20% to around $608 million. Shout out Seedless Green, who can now get new shoes. And let's see, they reported a net income of about roughly $100 million. And in terms of forecasting, in the last 30 days, there have been no earnings estimate revision. So it looks like 2 months ago is when it pretty much was. This is also still pretty not so great of a summary, but not in terms of an article. There we go. This might be better. Our results reflect both the strength of our software and the surging demand that we see for artificial intelligence, which is what I started off the stream talking about. And The overall government division increased 11% to $324 million. So a couple of key things to note there. In terms of earnings, the rest of the week, let's do it by market cap. With a $670 billion market cap, I believe that's in the top 10 of all stocks. Eli Lilly this week, PepsiCo, McDonald's, Baba, Disney, Caterpillar, Philip Morris. You see people using those SINs, that's pretty much the same company. I did not know that Philip Morris was that big. That's crazy. Uber, CVS, Chipotle, PayPal. So some pretty big names. But we are starting to get closer towards the end. We have Ford as well, Prudential, and Yum. So a lot of different names. Snapchat, I believe, is there as well to look out for in terms of the rest of the week. Let's get into the charts now, starting off with Bitcoin. We haven't looked at these charts in over a week on the stream because I haven't streamed. So let's see what can be drawn up right now. This, I don't know. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 touches. It's not really a complete wedge. What I would like to see here is a rejection, another move down, and then potentially a breakout. So that's what could happen on Bitcoin. We don't know if it will. I mean, it's really just spent the last week or so testing this 43.5 level as a resistance. Ethereum has surprisingly successfully ridden above this demand line and pretty much just above, bounced off of it at the low of day consecutively for the past 2 weeks. This imaginary line on a chart for an asset that doesn't even have like actual physical relations to the real world, in an imaginary asset with an imaginary line held up by millions of dollars is reacting to a line on the chart. So isn't that just crazy? So there's also SOL, which had this wedge breakout, moved up a little bit, but seems like this shooting star candle on the last or the second to last day of January has made it calm down a little bit. I mean, if it can't really break above that high from January 30th, there's a potential for a lower high to be put in place, and then at that point, your next major level is going to be $79. That's your quick look on crypto. In terms of treasuries, the US 2-year finally broke out today after pretty much double bottoming at 4.13%. It broke out of this descending running wedge as of today. And if we look at the 10-year, it's pretty much just closed above the 200-day moving average. It needs more confirmation, but I do keep this in mind when thinking about the market. We're starting to see treasuries bounce, and usually most people only talk about this type of stuff when it's too late. All those people you see on X, they're typically very late to the party because they're just not well-educated traders. And the people I try to relate to on X and join spaces with, they're good. But I just go on X. I guess you don't say Twitter. I go on X, like, I know I say like once a stream because I'm just not used to it. But I go on X all the time and I just see people talking about stuff. Don't educate people if you don't know things yourself. But the US dollar index, the DXY, bullish engulfing last Friday, fall through today. Nice move above the 200-day moving average. I mean, look, this all started with a third reversal in pretty much the last year off of the $100 level. So not bad. This really could be setting up a major reversal, actually. Not much of any change on silver or gold. This triangle really did not do much on gold. I've just continued to extend it. It's quite sad. And then finally, before we head into US stocks, it looks like the Hang Seng Index has gone back down to retest the 26-year-old trend line for right now. So that's pretty much it for other markets. See this, I think you were talking about Palantir when you said the earnings call was a good one. I'm excited for the night, but I'm going to keep my eye out in the morning for a dump. I'd have to jump back in. We will see what happens tomorrow. And let's get started with the overall market. So, SPY, inside day today. Pretty much what we saw was what looked like a pretty bearish reversal last Wednesday. And then between earnings, Apple, Amazon, very nice ones. And a couple others. You also had Netflix as well. I mean, I just can't name the rest off the top of my head, but a lot of great earnings. And Meta was a huge one. Just literally just regained it like nothing even happened. It's like we don't care about the economy. That's what a lot of investors are saying. And even parts of the economy, in my opinion, are pretty good. People care right now about how companies are doing. Forget how the economy is doing. If the companies are making money, we don't care if the economy is horrible. Not that it is horrible, but it just seems like we got that nice earnings save. Bearish engulfing on the 1 hour today. Did we fill the gap on lower time frames? Still technically didn't fill this gap. It's a very, very small unfilled gap. So I will keep this charted for tomorrow, that little unfilled gap territory. Pretty much what we saw was a gap down, a sell-off for about the first hour of the day, and then a recovery into the afternoon. So relatively unchanged at the close. I mean, if you didn't just fall 0.14% in your last 5 minutes down to the VWAP, it wouldn't have even been that bad of a day. So, I mean, look, I could probably drop this level on a 5-minute chart if anybody wants to take note of some levels to keep an eye on. If you're in premium, go to the overview channel and then you can get access to all of my trading view charts. You don't have to screenshot my streams. Not a big fan of that level in the middle of a range. I like this level because of that alone. This one, I really just haven't updated my SPY 5-minute chart since Friday because I didn't really look at the SPY too much. Really what I did today was I saw the SPY was gapping down. It looked bearish. Went over to Microsoft. Went over to the 15-minute on Microsoft. I saw it break down from this wedge pattern and I alerted puts on Microsoft like right there and they went up I think about 60% for premium members today. That was the only alert. Kept it pretty simple. But yeah, moving back over to SPY with a 4-hour, just a lot of indecisiveness. When you're seeing, upper wicks and lower wicks, and you're just kind of relatively staying on one price point since really Friday morning when we got up to it, we're just seeing a little bit of a 50-50 area for the SPY right now. Let's go zoom out though. All right, on the weekly time frame, has anything changed? Not really. So the trend is simply your friend for right now. I wouldn't overthink it until we see a bearish signal. It's still technically a bullish trend. All right. The Qs, it seems like if we especially get onto lower time frames, they've continued to develop a little bit of a resistance here, right around 430-ish. All right. So these are your major zones on the Qs. First, you got that 411 zone, then you've got a 421 zone, and now a 430 zone. So in about 10-point increments, you're getting, maybe they're just psych levels, these zones, and that's really the only thing you can look at on the Qs right now, in my opinion. Apart from that, there's just not much of a reading. Not seeing divergences, I'm not seeing patterns. What I am going to do though is set an alert of these highs if it breaks out. Maybe it sees 440 next, who knows? And just to zoom out on the weekly, this is something that we can keep in mind. And it's too early to really do much with it. I wouldn't even trade it on the short side right now. But you do have the potential for classic bearish divergence on the weekly time frame on the Qs, which means you made a higher high from this major high in November of 2021 compared to the current high. You made a higher high on price, but a lower high on your MACD and RSI in terms of its most previous highs. Actually, I did say that wrong. We're not really thinking about these highs, and technically that is still one, so we can go to the monthly to check that, but it's mainly tracking this high to this current one. We go to the monthly. I'm going to do that. Monthly would not be able to click classic bearish divergence because your MACD did the same thing as the price and made a higher high. But on the RSI, you could potentially get it. And this is something I want to take a look at. The QQQ RSI on the monthly time frame is not even overbought yet, despite it having one of its most epic rallies in a very long time. And let's see. In 2014, we saw the RSI on the monthly get overbought. In 2018, we saw it get overbought. So monthly gets overbought in November of 2014. We get a decent sell-off in August of 2015, about a year-long wait. Then in 2017, around August, the monthly got overbought. And then pretty much August, September of the next year, it started to pull back. And then we saw May 2021. Technically, it first got overbought in August of 2020. And if we go again to the next fall, is when it really topped out. So it seems like the monthly RSI is about a 1-year lagging indicator. and we're not even overbought yet. So for an example, let's say we keep rallying for the next 2 months, and in let's include February and March. April 1st, we see the RSI get up to around over here, all right, by April. Then maybe if the last 3 times the RSI did on the monthly, if that happens again, we're thinking like May of 2025 would be when you see that steep, like not even correction, but like 20-30% quick bear market. So that is something to keep in mind. All right, we're not even at that point yet. There could be a lot more of a leg to this rally if we're just going off of a monthly RSI, and the last 3 out of 3 times it did the same exact thing, where it got overbought on the monthly, and then about a year later it had a pretty decent sell-off, but it took about a year, and we're not even at that point yet. So this has nothing to do with the short term. That's just further out technicals. And for those of you who watch the streams, I don't even look too much at the monthly on the SPY and the Qs, because way too much can happen in the real world before the monthly has the time to play out. So we will see. Moving on, small caps had a much worse day compared today to large caps, and I'm just not a big fan of this lower high that we're seeing on small caps put in at the top of the range it's been in since March of 2022. Almost 2 years, the Russell 2000 has been in this range and just made a potential lower high there. You want to draw it like a demand line too. You're also testing a breakdown. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 touches of that trend line, and as of today, you're testing a breakdown. If the Russell 2000 breaks this zone I just drew, if it breaks this 188 level, probably going to get your retest of the 200 moving average. And this, I mean, look, I don't want to see it, but this is possible where it just continues to do the same thing until at some point it breaks in either direction. So we will see. We haven't looked at the ARK ETF in a minute. It looks like it's just retesting the 45 level. This is another just range bound asset. Top of the range is that white zone, and then the bottom of the range is this white zone. All right, any questions about trading, any take requests you have, drop them in the chat. Let's go look at a few of the ongoing swings. Gold getting very, very close to the stop loss, just retesting these lows. That's really it. It's just a make or break area for the swing. BABA, not bad. It broke out of the wedge, it back tested it, and now it just went from being a swing that was in the red to up about 1%. So you got a nice back test of the wedge for BABA. Riot, quite the opposite. It was in profit, and then today it rolled over. Now it's down about 6%. So I think the key thing here for Riot is just holding above this white zone. All right, we can do the run on large caps now. Microsoft, seems like it broke down and even back tested this breakdown on the daily. Classic bearish divergence. Netflix been struggling to break above 575, which is some resistance from the fall of 2020. Apple, I think Apple's a coin flip in the short term. On one hand, it just rejected new all-time highs twice. On the other hand, it just held the 200-day moving average 3 times. It's a coin flip right now. Talking about coins, Coinbase had a horrible day today, down 9%, bearish engulfing candle, and it is currently retesting highs from August of 2022 and July of 2023. So a very big make or break area for Coinbase. Tesla got a bullish pin bar candle today off the demand line of this channel. This is now a complete falling wedge, minus this fake out you see over here. So that is another thing to keep in mind. What's actually interesting about Tesla is if it does continue to sell off, and somebody might have brought this up in the Discord, my brain just can't remember who, you could eventually, way down at about 125, let's call it, which is not really a big level, but it's a little bit of a level from 2020. Crazy that we might go see 2020 prices if this pattern plays out, but if the bat action magnet move takes place, which basically means you break under the B point, make that red, you break under the B point of the harmonic. If we do see the bat action magnet move, which takes you down to the D point, then 125 could be in the cards for Tesla. And I personally would probably go long at a 1 year long harmonic on Tesla when they just unveiled the Cybertruck. I mean, I'd have to see what the earnings look like around then, but it'd be interesting. Maybe you get even more oversold then. keep in mind, Tesla is probably one of the only large caps right now that's oversold on the RSI on the daily. It's probably one of the only ones. So this is also the most oversold Tesla got. The last time it was this oversold, it bottomed in here and it went up about 200%. There you go. That's Tesla. Okay, last time the RSI came down here, it went up 200%. Nothing crazy. MU, this was also a name that was shared in the premium watch list yesterday night. I like this upsloping channel as long as it holds. You got a bullish engulfing on Friday. Holding 85 is one of the key levels. It's not a super clear level, but if you really zoom in, you can see it. Amazon, nice move on earnings. I mean, look, it was testing this zone. You can see this historical zone, back testing into earnings, and you got your gap up. At this point, there's not much of a pattern. It's just keep an eye on the levels, but nonetheless, that inverse head and shoulders played out beautifully. Google, I'm very 50-50 on Google still. I mean, look, the diamond played out to make it retest all-time highs or actually achieve new all-time highs. If you look at it at this point, it's just simply, can it get above 152 or does it fall under 85, like very long term? Your two huge levels on Google's chart are literally those two levels. So everything in between them I think is more neutral. Anything above bullish, anything below bearish. Where do we even begin on this one? I don't even know what to say. This has got to be one of the craziest moves in the stock market. Not by percent change. I mean, also overall long term by percent change, yes. But just in terms of the amount of money it takes to move this stock. Not just in options contracts, but just in regular share price. Wow. I mean, Nvidia broke 500 and quite literally went straight up to 700. And if we're looking at those fibs, it is now pretty much exceeding the 2618. We also did the longer term fibs. I want to see what that looks like now. Now your 2618 on the longer term fibs are going to put you up at about $728 on Nvidia, but I don't feel FOMO quite often. Very rarely do I feel FOMO, but I got a little bit of that fear of missing out right now. I mean, just even in past tense, like I was literally on the stream saying this looks bullish and good when the triangle was breaking out the top of the range. But like, how do you even anticipate this type of a move without any pullback? There was not even, I think, at any point a 2 or 3 day pullback in the last month. It quite literally has just gone straight up for the whole entire year. I saw a post on X today about what about the trading strategy of just buying Nvidia calls every morning and selling them the next morning, every single day. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. I mean, it's the same thing that a couple of traders did during the bull market after the COVID crash, which was just a bullish call roll where they just literally for like a year and a half just literally bought SPY calls every morning and then sold them the next morning. That's a strategy that works amazing and can make you rich until one day it doesn't and you lose a lot of money. So that's how I look at it. But nonetheless, insanity. AMD a little bit more normal, even though it still had a nice rally. Maybe a little bit of a pattern for me here. Still needs more work to develop. I think just holding above 164 is key. That's pretty much it for the large caps. Just for old time's sake, let's take a look at some of these stocks. GameStop, I mean, this is a key level, 1350, and it's just closed under it, so the next key level is 1188 if that can't hold. AMC just cannot catch a break. I mean, this is quite literally a penny stock if you're going to talk about what it was at before the reverse split, because it went down to $2 in the beginning of 2021 before it went to 20 and then 70 or whatever. $2 was like the low, I believe, which is now like $10, and now it's at $3. So crazy, right? Don't even know what to say there. So a lot of these names, they're not participating in this overall market rally. They saw like a nice pop towards the end of the year. They got a piece of that Santa rally, but they're just not continuing on like the rest of the names. Fisker, I bought more Fisker today I'm going to kind of start to slow down on buying Fisker now. Not that I've been buying like a crazy amount every day, but over the past 4 weeks, I have been averaging into a position. 2 of my accounts, my average is under $1. And then my other account, I'm down a decent amount. But 2 out of my 3 accounts, it's not even, like literally the current price is not that far from my average. I think one of my averages is under 80 cents. Another one is around 90 cents. And then the other one is like up in the dollar range. That's the bad average, but I'm not going to touch that one. But look, I mean, try this on the 4 hour. It's going for the triple bottom. You need a lot more data. Your key level that you just want to hold right now, I have the alert set up until March. You just want to hold above like 73 cents. Pretty much it. See what happens. I think just keep an eye on the news with this stock and what they're doing, especially what they're trying to do with the dealers and stuff. So that's Fisker. Bove has literally gone sideways since November. Thankfully, it hit the first target like right away, because that would have been a very, very dry and boring swing trade if it didn't. Dollar General. Seems like it's testing a breakdown of this bear flag. I'd say I'm bearish on this under 153. That's a very big key level. You already looked at Tesla. Quick summary is it just printed a bullish pin bar off the bottom of this wedge. And then CRSP, I would just simply extend this out. It's still in the triangle, still consolidating. If you want to just have levels around it or just draw a range, then this is your range. So it depends on which way it breaks. And then even within that, there's a much larger range that's been stuck in since the end of 2021. So there you go. First night back streaming. Just gonna kind of keep it a little bit short and sweet. Did a half an hour stream, not too bad. If you're on Kick, make sure you hit the follow button. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. I know I did go live a little bit early tonight, but I want to go hit the gym too. So enjoy the rest of your night. If you're watching the replay, feel free to hit the like button. Check out the links in the description. If you want to get some fun trades, can't guarantee they're all going to be winners, but some of them are going to be fun, like this one today, and the last 2 before that, which were both 100%, I believe. Well, one of them was 200%. You want fun stuff like that and a whole lot more, and guaranteed access to my algo as long as you stay signed up. WAP.com/championvibe. It is the pinned chat. Have a great night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night on stream.